Hey Jackal, do you want to edit like business casual? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I got an idea of what you can do quite easily with DaVinci Resolve Studio, a little bit less easy with DaVinci Resolve free version, and that is with masking and applying some blur. Now what do I mean when I say edit like business casual? Well, they use a lot of black and white images, presumably old, and what you will notice, hopefully, is they have some depth perspective going on. Now you can't really do this with one image, you need multiple images, or at least you have to cut an image into pieces. So if we skip back a little bit, so we have this piece of rock which is not moving, then we have this other section and the section down below, and also probably the section behind, and all of them moving at different speeds. As you can see, if this was just an image, you would not see what is behind this rock if you would just zoom in. And the same thing goes with this section and the section below it. Now how you do this is basically stacking images in 3D space. I will not be showing you how to do this, there's plenty of videos on how to do it. Now the effect used in this scene is called parallax effect. Well, I will not show you how to make it, maybe I think I've already made a video on that. What I will show you is how to make depth blur using DaVinci Resolve Studio. So you can make something like this that you saw in the intro. So you have the blur applied in the back, and then gradually and the front gets blurry. But you can also do something like this. I've also applied some zoom, made this person stand out, literally, at the end. As you can see. So how you can do something like this easily in DaVinci Resolve Studio is go to Media. I'll just use the same image. I will zoom in so it fits the whole screen. And you can adjust the position. Now to do this easily is go to the color page, and this is studio only. So when you go to the effects, you'll want to use a depth map. Simply connect it, right click, add node, add the corrector node. Now in the corrector node, we'll simply go to the blur, and maybe we can apply a lot of it just so we can see the difference. But we'll want to go to the depth map, enable the preview so we can see what is being affected, adjust the map level. So maybe what I want is the front to be visible. So something like this. And to see what we actually have, we have to disable the map preview. So currently everything is blurred. You also have to connect the mask output and connect it to this one. So now just this section is blurred, but the face is not. So we have to fix this just a tiny bit. We can also isolate specific depths, which is what we'll also be using to make the animation. And lastly, I'll enable the map finesse and adjust the blur a tiny bit, maybe something like this. So in this case, only this person is being blurred and everything else is pretty much in focus. So if I display the depth map preview, so this is what is being blurred, everything that is white. In this case, most of it is not being visible because what is being blurred is this section down at the bottom. Now you can also now make keyframes. So I'll go to this section and you can animate the target depth. So I'll simply keyframe this value, go almost to the end and position this value. Maybe you need to enable the map preview so you can actually see. In this case, we would really have to fix what is being focused. So in this case, what I would actually want to do is flip the values around. So we mask out the front person, and at the beginning everything else is being masked out. And now if we would play this is what that could look like. If you go into the edit page and nothing is happening, so this is not being rendered out, you can right click and render cache color output so that this then renders out, but this process can be a bit slow. Now you can also do this effect in the Fusion composition, and how you can do it is similarly as we have done in the color page. So we'll add a depth blur, shift space to open the select tools. I'll use a blur node, and you have many blur nodes to choose from. Maybe I'll go with this one. You'll simply connect the media in to a depth blur, not depth blur, we need the depth map. So we have again the same options as we used in the color page, and I will simply try to get something that I have used in the color page. But now to actually see the result, I will connect this to the prism blur. And lastly, we have to merge this, like so, and disable the depth map preview. Maybe the prism blur is not the best, so let me try another one. So I'll just use this one, crank the value up. Currently, as you can see, nothing is being applied, or everything is being blurred, not what you want. So this depth map will go inside the merge, just like so. And now, as you can see, this section is being blurred, and you can now apply the invert option in the depth map, or you can also apply the same option in the merge node, though with a bit of a different result, as you can see. So now let's replace the blur with the prism blur, and this is now only affecting the bottom section, and we can again animate the target depth. So we go from prism blurring this to prism blurring the background. Now how I have selected this person, you can use a depth map since you already have most of the selection, but I guess the most convenient way would be to actually use a polygon, quickly mask the person out. I will just first add a background node, and the alpha will be set to 0. Then I will use a merge node, the background will go to the back, the media in will go to the front, and with the polygon we will mask out this person. We can disable the polygon while we're doing the selection. I will zoom in and make a quick selection. It doesn't have to be nice, but the nicer I make the selection, the better it will look. And also it depends on the image. This one is quite low quality. So I have the selection. I can also apply some soft edge so it will look better. So I'm displaying this on the left side, and I will enable the polygon. So this is now the cutout. And you can adjust the soft edge, as I said, by a tiny bit, and you can always come back and adjust the handles. This is the handle, and this is the point. So now I have this person masked out, and you want to apply it over the blurry effect. So you can add another merge node. This will go in the back. The person will go in the front. So we now have the person always visible, even at the end when the blur is applied. Actually, the blur is applied in the beginning, but this person will always be visible. And if you want to adjust the size of the selection, you can use a transform node, position it between the two merges. Now you don't need it. You could just use this merge node and increase the size. It does increase or decrease in size, but the transfer node has a pivot point which you can use. So if I zoom on this section, I will position the pivot point. You will see it in a moment. So this is the pivot point that I'm moving. I can position it down below, and once I change the size, the person, as you can see, will change the size based on the position of the pivot point, which is something that's not possible to do in the merge node. So we can now make a simple animation. Maybe at frame 10, the size will be 1, and at 140 the size will be, let's see, maybe this big. And we can also add some drop shadow to this. Shift space, drop shadow. Let's see, we can adjust the shadow strength, the drop distance, and adjust the blur. In this case, as you can see, you can't really use the colors. So if you want to change the shadow color, you have to use this node, shadow. But in this case, how do you change the size of the shadow? Well, you have to change the light position. We don't see it at the moment because it's at the top, as you can see. So you can position the light source in the middle and then decrease the light distance to increase the shadow. Change the color of it, adjust the softness. So I have done the effect in the Fusion page, but it is only the blur and the size changing. What we can do is still increase this base size in the edit page. My PC is being a little bit slow because it's caching this out. Keyframe the values, go to the end-ish, maybe zoom in or zoom out depending on what you want. Actually, we could go to the beginning and zoom in a lot, and then go to the end and actually zoom out. Maybe something like that. Now to have a smooth playback, we have to render this out. The blue means it's playable, the red means it still has to render out. This is just caching. And you can go to playback, render cache, and I have this set to smart. If this is set to none, nothing will happen and you won't be able to play back this smoothly. You can also right click on the clip and go to render cache, Fusion output, and this is set to auto, and this should also help with caching this out. So at the moment this is how it looks like, but once we get to this part, as you can see, the playback stops. So the effect is done, and let's take a look at it. I think the effect looks okay, and you don't see it every day. And if you found this video helpful and would like to see more DaVinci Resolve content, subscribe to the channel. I'm Simon, and until next time, Jackal, keep it digital.